Hey, hi, hello, welcome back, Alexandrian Codex. Just ignore this. This isn't what, well, this is sort of what we're talking about, but it's not really what we're talking about. I got an odd request on YouTube. Commented on a, what is it, Dragon Age video of all things, but, you know, kudos, it got my attention from Jovan, saying, sorry that I'm leaving a comment here, but I hope I'll get a response faster. Well, first of all, you don't need to apologize for asking a question or commenting anywhere. Probably the quickest way to get a hold of me is actually on Twitter, and I think my social media is linked on Facebook and Twitch. You'll forgive me, I'm tired right now, so I'm not really talking that quickly, and that's why I'm recording this rather than writing it out, because I'm too tired and my migraine's keeping me from writing articulately, so you'll get me rambling instead. I got your American History mod for HPM Vicky 2, and I'm loving it. Glad to hear it. I'd like to make a decision for the Russian Empire to do a Circassian genocide/exodus that happened in 1860s after the end of the Caucasian Wars. Thinking something like the Trail of Tears, because I thought that I could just alter data on the script, but it's a bit different and I have two issues. First, I'm very bass at modding, I assume that's bad at modding, and two, unbiased historical sources and figures on this are rare, so my conclusions are based on my understanding after reading some decent Western, Russian, and Circassian sources I could find. Issue number one, I feel you. I don't have any formal training in any of the coding that I do in any of Paradox's languages. I'm not certified. I didn't go to school for programming. The most programming I ever took in school was JavaScript in like 9th grade, 8th or 9th grade, and I dropped the class because it bore me to tears. I wrote a Hello World program and then I'm like, this is boring. And every time I've tried to learn formal classes in coding, it just puts me to sleep. All the terminology, the vernacular, it's incredibly boring. So, I hear you, it's hard. A couple resources out there, there's like a few Steam community guides like Basic Modding for Victoria 2 that walk you through the structure of mod files, mod folders, the kinds of language you use, examples of things. There's the modding section on the Victoria 2 Paradox wiki that can walk you through examples of event, decision, and country modding, like what that would look like, what different flags or bits of code do. But honestly, this is all worth a read. It's not going to be quick to learn, but it's comprehensible. It's understandable. You just have to be patient with it. What really helped me learn, honestly, is just getting into the code and looking up events. So like you use Trail of Tears as an example. So Trail, if I can spell it right. Oh my god, Trail, Tears. Oh, of course it's not referred to as this. Why would it be? John Brown's right. These are events, right? Right, what we're looking at is not an event, what we're looking at is a decision, so it wouldn't be in there. Very important if you're doing any modding at all, is to use the program Notepad++. Notepad++ is free to use. The only reason you'd be using Notepad++ instead of Notepad or WordPad or any other word processor is that this maintains the spacing and doesn't accidentally fuck with any of the formatting, or mess with any of the formatting. So we go to Trail of Tears. Trial. Oh my god, you can tell I'm tired. They use underscores, of course. We can look at and what the code looks like. So this event is the Trail of Tears event. These hashtags over at the end are me commenting out this whole section. Basically, if a line has one of these, the program ignores anything in that line. Anything that follows one of these is completely ignored. It's used for putting in notes so you can describe what this is. Like this says USA here. I completely cut the Trail of Tears event for my mod, so that's why you won't be seeing it here. I reintroduced it with other mods or other stuff. So Trail of Tears, we can look at, okay, how does this work? So this is the name of the decision, Trail of Tears. In game, if you didn't add a localization file, and we can touch more on what that means later, or honestly, look it up. Maybe I'll get to it. This will be all over the place. This is the name of the event, Trail of Tears. Okay, and equals means it's starting, and then open bracket means everything from this first open bracket to a corresponding closing bracket, which we see down here, is all going to be one statement, if you will, all one thing. So the next line defines the potential for this decision, when you can take it, when is this decision available. And again, for potential, this opens the potential section, closes the potential section, let's call it. Or means it has to be one of these things. And then this will be a list of things. It's only a list of 2 things, but it's a list of things. So you would need to either be the United States or the Confederate States. Okay? And we're still in potential now. You have to be the United States or the Confederate States, but you can't have the flag marching on the Trail of Tears. You get the flag marching on the Trail of Tears down here, and we'll talk about that in a second. So to allow you to do this, so potential is just that you might potentially be able to do it. That the decision's even in your decision tree. For you to be able to click on it in the decision tree, you need to own province 130 and 131. You need to have an average consciousness of 3, and you can't be a vassal. Then effect. Any pop. So any pop is a state scale modifier. I think it's kind of confusing when it's any pop and not has pop, but whatever. So any pops in 130 and 131. No, any pop. So just any population is how they start this out. Any pop that is either the culture, Native American Minor, Cherokee, and I think those are it in default. These next 2 lines I added. So it's one of these 2 cultures, but it's not in 130 or 131. Its population is reduced by 0.80. So reduced by 0.80 means... fuck me. Now I gotta look this up. I think this means population is multiplied by this. I don't remember. Yeah. So 0.80 would be minus 20%. Consciousness is modified by 2, pop militancy is lowered by 1, and then all of those pops are moved to this location. Now with Trail of Tears, I'm not sure if there's a way to move it to multiple locations, because in this event it just moves them all to 130. I don't think you can make it move them between 130 and 131 and split them up evenly. I don't know how to make it do that. Then it sets the global flag marching on the Trail of Tears. This flag is basically just a marker for the game to be like, okay, this event or decision or whatever has already happened, and now it can't happen again. And then AI will do factor is basically, will the AI do this decision? So this is pretty understandable, right? Beginning to end. It's pretty simple. And fortunately, Paradox's games are so mechanics-based. By the time you're thinking in terms of, oh, what do I want to code, you already have a pretty logical series of if this, then this, if this, then this. So let's get back to what you're talking about. The unbiased historical sources are rare, yes. I could go on about this for a long time. Unbiased historical sources don't exist. There are no unbiased historical sources, just like there are no unbiased contemporary sources on anything. we all have bias, whether that be cultural bias, religious bias, ideological bias, cognitive bias, whatever. And as a historian, as an academic, as, somebody who wants to learn and really dig at the truth, the best way to get to, and truth is in air quotes here, to get to the truth or towards the truth or closer to an accurate representation of what happened, is to look at every side that you can find, right? Find every telling of the story that you can. And it sounds like you're doing that. It sounds like you're putting in good effort to do that. So good job. It's one thing to look at written accounts. It's another if you can corroborate it with like what we call primary sources. A primary source in academia is something it's an original document or an original artifact or like a thing from that time. Secondary sources are sources that cite or make use of those primary documents. So like a textbook tends to be a secondary source. And then you can have tertiary sources. Tertiary sources are things that talk about secondary sources. So like opinion columns, newspaper stories, like modern retrospective newspaper articles. It gets a little confusing. So basically, and it seems, from what I gather, you're already doing this. Just try to poke and prod at it from as many different sides as possible. Write down all the different numbers and statistics, even and especially if they're contradictory, because that'll let you get a good idea for the range of population that you're dealing with, or time, or whatever else. And then you honestly just have to use your own judgment to go with a number or a figure or a percentage. And that's something I've been pretty uncomfortable with, frankly, because I feel a little underqualified, but especially when we're talking about relocation of peoples, when we're talking about the depopulation of areas, pre-modern acts of genocide were not well documented. They were not as industrialized or documented, really, as the genocides we've seen in Europe and in the mid-20th century and following that, right? So, yeah, unfortunately, we really do just have to ballpark it. I would say, frankly, I'd go with, like, Circassian sources, quotes or numbers or estimates from the affected people, and give that priority more than sources from, in air quotes, neutral parties or aggressor parties. Because, that's just what I tend to do, is believe the aggrieved party more than the abusing one. Here's the historical gameplay fitted idea you have is once Russia conquers both the Circassians and Imam Shamil, around 60% of Circassian culture group people move from you got the provinces, should be moved to 1048 or 1047. And Ottoman Empire. This is where the remaining 3/4 should go. Besides, this is an additional 15% of the total population should be deleted, represent high mortality. Yeah. You have no idea how to script this. So, we've already started on how to script this. Basically, let's set you up, huh? Let's give you an example of how to do this. Obviously you're going to want to rewrite this. So this is example caucus event. That's not how you spell Caucasus. Event name. Now, event name is important because in our modding files, if we go to our mod directory and we go to localization, in localization, there will be a bunch of files like events, decisions. If we go into decisions here, this thing that I just typed in, event name, would be event name underscore title, semicolon, the name of the event with spaces in it, followed by whatever number of semicolons this is. Basically, all of these semicolons are for different languages. This is just English, and then if you wanted to put in different languages, you would put them in here, but I don't do that. Yeah, it's English, French, German, Polish, Spanish, but if you only have English, it'll default to English. Then you would put in event name underscore DESC, short for description, another semicolon. Here you type in your description for the event, and you can try to get a feel for how long this would be by looking at the longest articles in here, and then just cap it off with this same number of semicolons, and that's all you really have to do with the localization file. And once you're done with that, you go back over here. So potential tag would be RUS. I think that's Russia's tag. Maybe you want to also be like Soviet Union or whatever, but we're just going to start with tag Rus. Has global, so does not have flag, event, name, flag. And then we'll just copy this and move that down here. So allow, you already have your province names. So I'm not gonna go through those. You get the idea. So you're gonna want those listed out here in the same way that this event does it. Owns this, owns this, owns this. The average consciousness, honestly, get rid of it. I don't think it's worth it. Is a vassal? No. So, the way that I would do this, like we were talking about, this Trail of Tears event just moves everything to 130. And what you're talking about is you want some to move to the Ottoman Empire, you want some to move around to different provinces, and that's okay, and that's possible, but we're gonna have to rewrite this. Basically, let's just simplify this to has pop culture and then pop culture name. I don't know what the pop culture in the Caucasus is, because I think that depends on the mod. If you don't know what it is, you go into your directory, you go into common. In common, there will be one of these by the name of cultures, and you'll open that up, and then you'll go one by one until you find the name of it. So if we want, oh, Caucasian. Okay, Caucasian is just the name of a group. Yeah, we could do that. So you would have Dagestani, Chechen, Circassian. I think Circassian is specifically what you referred to. So we would have this. So any of these pops that are not in... Oh dear. No, you'd want to rewrite this. Okay, and the way we'd want to rewrite this is... I'm gonna borrow from my code here. Do you want this to be an event, or do you want this to be a decision? Let's see here. You decision. That's Sitting Bull. I don't want to look at Sitting Bull. I want to look at one of my things I actually coded. So here's an example of like what I did in the Great Sioux War. Basically, I have this be I'm gonna have to open two of these so I can show you side by side. Get out of here. Get out of here. Go, move to a new window. I have to move to other view. Pop out. Pop out? Girl. Okay, whatever. I can do this side by side. This is basically what I was gonna do anyway. Tired Alex coding is not what anyone ever asked for. So we have effect is gonna be it's gonna be like this. God, I'm just gonna delete all of this. Goodbye. So we're not modding it off of that decision. We're modding it off of my code because that's what we're talking about. So let's just say 1049. We'll start with 1049. Allow effect. 1049 equals. So this is saying in province 1049 do a thing. And we're gonna put in a colon here. And then I'm just gonna copy all of this because we're just doing this by root and it should be fine. Again, I'm gonna put comments in here because I don't want this to be real code. I don't know why I'm doing this. Right. State scope. So state scope means it's not just province 1049, but the entire state that province is in. Basically, this lets you be lazy and not have to put in every single province number like you did. It saves you a little bit of work. I don't know if these are all in the same state or multiple states, so you might have to do this for one province from each state. So any pop, again, in the state that 149 is in. Okay, but let's limit it. Not actually any pop, but any pop that is not of the culture group Native American, reduce the population by 0.9. Or we can say... yeah, that's the Great Sioux War. You want your population getting reduced a little bit. Oh my god. Yeah, instead you could just change this to has pop culture. Has pop culture equals Circassian? And then, so it's only going to apply to Circassian pops in the state that 1049 is in, and then reduce pop equals 0.9 here would reduce it by 10%. And you're talking about a reduction of like deleted. So yeah, you'd want either 0.9 or 0.85. So what that would do is reduce the number of pops. Unfortunately, here we hit a stumbling block because what you want to do, and I love what you want to do, I do. What you want to do is split them to move between two different locations, and the move pop command just moves it to one location. You can't say multiple locations because that's just not how they program this. So what I would suggest is go ahead and put move pop to, you know, what was the first one you said? 1048. 1048. Okay, great. So that is going to be fine. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make a separate second event. So now you're going to find one of these provinces that... Where'd your comment go? Where'd your comment go? That isn't in the same state as 1049. Let's assume it's 1095. That sounds far away. So 1095, exact same scope, but then this time you're going to move them to 1047. Basically, what this is going to let you do is move the Circassian pops from specific provinces to other specific provinces and reduce their population slightly. Unfortunately, what you're going to have to do is choose, okay, all the pops in this state are going to this province. All the pops in this state are going to this province. You can't just say move pop equals Ottoman Empire. You're going to have to pick a specific destination or series of destinations for them. So you might have to copy and paste this and copy and paste this and copy and paste this a number of times to get all of the states down. I think that should work. I don't know that'll work, but if I were to code it, that's how I would do it. Now, I'm going to leave this on screen. Obviously, you can go back and copy this line by line. I encourage you to write it yourself, and the reason why I'm not posting the code and I'm encouraging you to write it yourself, though I'm, obviously leaving it open for you to copy this line by line, is one, I'm very tired and I might have just made some mistakes here. Two, you're gonna like it so much more if you do it yourself. I at least find it a lot of fun to learn this way. And three, if you have questions, there are some pretty good resources out there. What was I talking about? Yeah, the Victoria 2 modding community on Steam is pretty small, but there is Victoria 2 mod. Am I wrong? Is there a subreddit for this? Paradox modding Reddit. Yeah, here we go. There are a few Paradox modding subreddits that you can ask in and poke around in. But really, I don't ask questions. If I am curious, what I do is, okay, honestly, if I were you, I would make it an event and not a decision. The reason I would do that is events are a lot easier to debug. Basically, I can boot up the game, press the tilde key to pull up the console. I can type in event equals and then the event number, press enter, and just see if it works. Otherwise, and I don't think it's a bad idea that you want it to be a decision. To make it be a decision, you might also want to put things like potential year equals, right, am I doing this right? You put in a year here, didn't you? 1860, right? Am I making that up? Yeah, 1860s. Year equals 1860. This does not mean that this can only be done in the year 1860. It means that the year has to be at least 1860. So you'd want to put that in here as well. Oh, and I need to definitely not save this. Sorry, you'd want year equals 1860 over here. Yeah. I think that would work. And basically, if you want to go in and test if this is working, just comment out the year requirement while you're testing it. And that way you can do it from year one, and then once you're sure it works, take out the comment, resave it, and that'll do. I think this should work for what you're looking for. I don't know though. I really don't know. Play around with it. If you have more questions or if it doesn't work, don't hesitate to reach out. Again, Twitter is probably the best way to get a hold of me quickly. The GitHub for the Victoria 2 mod, you can comment on there. If you just want to comment on whatever random video or this one, that works too, bud. Again, I want to emphasize, if you or anyone else ever have questions relating to modding or just anything, don't apologize for asking. It doesn't have to be related. I got a good laugh that this is not a fucking Dragon Age Origins mod video, but you're not hurting anyone. So I'm gonna go ahead and like this. I'm gonna go ahead and do myself a favor and not type in the explanation I was gonna do. I hope this helps. Obviously I didn't write the whole event for you. I mean, I did, but this doesn't do what you want it to do. Basically you'll just want to do this a few more times. I think. I really think it's only that complicated. Tedious. Now, if you want specific, probably the most tedious thing you're gonna have to end up doing is you're gonna have to look at the populations of these provinces and do the math. Like, you're saying you want this resettlement thing. Shit, no, I guess we're not done here. I got ahead of myself. The, remainder going to the Ottoman Empire, you're basically going to have to figure out, okay, by going into, honestly, going into the game is probably the best way to do this quickly, but you can also go into history, pops, 1861, actually, yeah, this is the start date, isn't it? And then we go into Russia. Then we're gonna search for, 1049. Alright, in 1049, we can see that there are, it's HPM, so of course there's decimals on all of these, but you can calculate the number of pops in each area. So you can be like, okay, Temen has allegedly 15,000. That might add up. Don't always trust these numbers. They don't always get updated when people change these pop numbers. So go through, add them all up, figure out, okay, 85% would be this one plus this one plus this one. And then you would be like, oh, okay, so I want 1049, 1051, I'm making up numbers, etc., and then just have those have the same final destination. Now for the last part of this, it being resettled. That's hard. That's hard, and I don't know events that do that. Pops in Victoria 2 are tricky, because they divide on their own, but you can't force them to move, right? Not using in-game mechanics. God, there's probably a way. I just don't know it. That's something I haven't wanted to try. When I've wanted to move pops around, I've changed migration attraction, but that's not going to work well in Russia. Well, no, it probably wouldn't. Maybe not. Probably, honestly, the best way to reflect this is by having, oh god, what's an event that changes Victoria to assimilation? there are a few things, a few events that change your assimilation rate of non-accepted cultures, and these tend to happen automatically. You could probably script it so one of these events, and god, I can't remember what the event numbers are, would fire, but that, honestly, I don't know. I know how to move, and I know how to move pops, I know how to depopulate pops, I don't know how to only move half of the pops, or a few pops. I don't know how to halfway populate an area. Basically, with my mod, with the American HPM, American History, I don't even know what I named this fucking thing. American History, yes, the most inspired name. A lot of that time period in the United States is full of people moving on their own, kind of disorderly, and the in-game mechanics simulate that well enough, but you'll have to look into why people move to the Caucasus and try to echo that, like here. An example. Is it resources? RGO change or spread events? Let's see. Tractor. Nope, it's change events. RGO change events is where you can go for some examples of migration attraction. Nope, not you, not Sudan. Give me California. I could have just typed in California. Yep, Cali. What do you mean it's not in here? Gold. 49? Oh, good God. I know I rewrote one of these. I know this is okay. It's not RGO events. Goods. Is it under goods? It's under goods. It's not RGO spread events. It's not RGO change events. It's under goods. That's right. Here I can do Cali. Yeah. So here's an example of the gold events. Gold events, trigger is a year. It happens in these provinces. The year is not this, so year is at least this, but not past this. Trade goods is precious metal. Then they get a thing. Add province modifier, gold rush. That might be what you want to have to move people to the provinces. Hilariously enough, 365 is the default duration for this. So I think you'd want to do state scope, add province modifier. No, sorry. Unfortunately, I think you'd actually have to do this for every single province, one by one, because with Gold Rush, it only affects a province. It does not affect a state. The Gold Rush modifier cannot be applied to an entire state at once. It has to be applied to each province individually. I added this cheeky thing where it affects neighboring provinces as well, but that's not going to help you. Essentially, Gold Rush will not add gold. All it does is add the migrant attraction bonus to that area for a year by default. And that would encourage your pops, I think, to move there for a year, but only a year. And honestly, in a year, you don't move that many population, and it wouldn't just be what you're looking for. It wouldn't just be Cossacks in Ukraine. Oh, Kuban and Dawn. Yeah, it wouldn't necessarily be them. So honestly, I don't really know if that would work. Yeah, I don't know how to move new people in there. I can tell you that if there are good jobs there, Pops will move there. If they don't have well-paying jobs somewhere else. If they aren't making enough to fulfill their life needs, their daily needs and their life needs, they're not gonna... Yeah, I don't know. That's a bit trickier. This is how you get rid of people, how you move people around. That's a little out of my wheelhouse. So I know this isn't exactly what you're looking for. Dance doesn't answer all your questions, but it's been a 41-minute answer, and I think I've talked your ear off long enough. So yeah, Google around, definitely ask questions on the various modding subreddits, on the Paradox forums. There are smarter people and more more experienced people than me who can probably help you figure out the rest of this. Yeah, thanks for reaching out, thanks for asking, and until later, I'm gonna say toodaloo, take care, see you then, bye-bye.